Good morning, Julie Lewin here. Welcome to 5 Keys to Understanding Your Metaphysical Body Language. I am a co-author of The Phoenix Rising, and you are here on the Phoenix Rising Summit. So let me just introduce myself a moment, because then we can get into the good stuff on the 5 keys to understanding your metaphysical body language. I've been a medical intuitive for 37 years, and that has been quite an extraordinary journey. It started with a clairvoyant reading, and the clairvoyant said to me, if you keep going the way that you're going, your life is going to be unpleasant. Your marriage will fail, you'll remarry quickly, that marriage will fail, you'll have very few happy moments in your life, you'll be very ill in your 30s and 40s and die at 53. But he put his hand up in the air and he said, you have a nun and a monk beside you. If you choose this alternate destiny, your marriage will survive, you'll overcome the illnesses in your 30s and 40s, you will live into your 90s, you'll have many happy moments in your life and be of great benefit to the world. You have a special gift of X-ray vision and you can see inside of people's bodies. So I decided, I knew the truth of the first vision because I was actually planning on leaving my husband with our 7-month-old daughter. And I thought, I don't want that I think it was I didn't want the unhappy life more than anything. And so I set about on this adventure, this odyssey of figuring out how to see inside of people's bodies. And it was an up and down journey. But at the beginning of the journey, I made a vow to Source, to God, whatever you want to call that energy. And I said, show me how, and I will share this with the world. And so that's what I'm doing here. I am sharing this journey with the world. Now, if you've read my story in the Phoenix Rising book, you will have heard or read that I ended up with thyroid cancer. I ended up with many, many illnesses. I ended up with thyroid cancer in 2000. Had my thyroid out. 2 days later, I had no voice. I mean, there was absolutely no voice. 10 months later, I discovered that the nerve on my left vocal cord was damaged by 95% and I may never speak again. So that's when I bargained with God and I said, please give me back my voice and I will share what I've learned. So I had to reiterate that vow. And here I am sharing what I've learned. So without further ado, let's get into the 5 keys to understanding your metaphysical body language. The first one is to listen to your inner voice. Your inner voice is going to be telling you that something's not right. Your inner voice is going to tell you something is right. There's this synergy between your inner voice and what happens in your body as well. You want to listen to the signs and the signals, and I can share with you what my signs and signals are, but each of us have our own metaphysical body language that is unique to us. It's how we interpret the world, how we receive the world. We've got all the clairs. There's clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairalliance. If you don't know what clairalliance is, that's smell. I don't know if you've been sitting, minding your own business, and this perfume wafts past you. That's clairalliance. You haven't seen anyone tangible. You haven't seen any evidence that a perfume is going to waft past you, then that's one of the clairs. So the thing that I've noticed with the clairs is a lot of people are clairvoyant or clairaudient. That's they see visions or they hear voices. But the people who are claircognizant and clairsentient, so claircognizant is that you know stuff. You just know. Clairsentient is you feel. So you just need to change your language, or the language that's coming in when people say, can you see that? Can you hear that? Can you see that vision? Before it comes into you, transpose it to how you feel. You might feel colors, you might feel sounds, you might feel the emotions, you might have a heightened emotional response. So whatever your language is, and it's really important to follow your language. So that's the next key. Listen to your intuition. Intuition is something that comes through your clairs as well. So I would recommend that you practice the art of intuition. Practice that. And if you need some help with that, I do have a book that will help you. Listen to the thoughts that pass through your mind. That is going to help you with your metaphysical body language. And then we want you to take action. Action on the thoughts, on the intuition. So what I'm going to share with you now is some of the common metaphysical body languages that I've discerned over the last 37 years. And the number one thing that I hear from people is my shoulders are so sore, or I've damaged my shoulder, or I have a frozen shoulder. So as soon as I hear about shoulders, I know straight away that the person with the sore shoulders takes responsibility for other people's stuff. And if you have sore shoulders, are you taking responsibility for other people's stuff? And there's two parts to that. One is that you're doing those people a disservice, and whatever is going on for that person, they may need the lesson of what's happening in their life. And if you step in and literally shoulder that responsibility, then you are stopping them from learning. How do you get rid of sore shoulders? If any of you have sore shoulders, I would recommend that you follow this. I'm going to teach you this simple little process that I have developed. So you just put your hands on your shoulders and you say out loud, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to do that anymore. And then you might be roting it those first two times, but really, really mean it. Drop deep into your being and go, I don't have to do that anymore. And you'll feel this whoosh, maybe in your solar plexus, that's down in the top of your abdomen. You may feel an adrenaline blush. I call it a blush because it's just like a gentle rush through. And then move your shoulders. And I've had people say, my shoulders were so sore, I couldn't move. And now they're loose as. So let me know if you've done that and it feels like, and then what happens is you can turn your neck so much further. So let's talk about the neck, because that's on top of the shoulders. When I think about the neck, and I do this myself, if I get a sore neck, it like the outer reason may be I slept the wrong way, or I was turned watching TV, or you did something physical, but you want to look at what's going on underneath. And that's the inner work that is a key part of your metaphysical body language. look underneath what's going on. So for me, the neck is that you wanting to make a decision, but you feel that you don't have enough information and that you're not receiving the information that you need. So here's what I do. Hands, and the tips are like this at the back, and I just cradle my neck. And the inner part of this is that you're saying to yourself, I am open to receiving all of the information I need to make this decision. That's what you're thinking. And then out loud, if you can, if it's a private space, say, I can do that. And again, I can do that. And if you're writing it, as in just copying the words but not putting the emotion in, drop deep into your being and say, I can do that, because your body will respond. If you've just done that now, you may have felt that warm blush through your body if your neck is a problem. And then feel what's going on in your neck. And what we're doing is we're releasing tension out of the body. That's the first stage of doing something with that, and the metaphysical body language knowledge that you have. So another part that people say to me is really challenging for them is their hands. So whenever I see someone with arthritis or they've injured their hand, they get carpal tunnel, I immediately know, oh, I'm so glad, Christy. I immediately know that they give more than they receive. And people say, well, why are my hands sore? I am so generous, I am so giving. And what I notice with this personality that gives and gives and gives, the universe is sending the balance, but they actually send it. They actually deflect it. They have a pattern of deflecting, receiving. So if you have sore hands and something's going on with your hands or your arms, practice receiving when the universe offers something up. Does that make sense? So I had someone come as a client for a 24-hour retreat, and I don't think I've ever seen crippled hands like that. The fingers were kind of going like this, and the bones on here were going over on top of each other. And she couldn't hold her cutlery, she couldn't do the dishes. She drove the car with this part of her hand because she couldn't do this. So what I did was I held her hands between my hands and I melted all of that arthritis. But at the same time, I was talking through with her this overgiving that she'd been doing. And in 10 hours, we had melted all the arthritis and her hands looked exactly like this at the end. And so I taught her how to maintain that healing. And so I'm going to share one of my healing secrets here with you. So if you run your hand over your body, okay, so just in there, in the pit of my elbow, I have a warmer spot. We don't want warm spots and we don't want cold spots. Have you ever touched your body and you go, oh, that part of my body is cold? So if there's cold or hot, like warmer than the rest of your body. So if you just run your hand gently, and it's not kind of like that, but it's not like that. It's just a gentle caress over your body. You will feel the warmer and the cooler spots. That is, your energy is not flowing correctly. So what you're wanting to do is balance that. And you can just balance that with the palms of your hands. So I taught this client how to just go like this, and it's literally like that, until your hand becomes neutral. And she kept her hands like this. Isn't that amazing? So let's talk about the hips and the legs, because this is another area that is really a problem area for many people. So when I hear about the hips, and I'm not talking about the spine, I'm talking about the hips, which is, so if we imagine this is the spine here where my nose is, and these are the hips here. If something's going on in the hips, that is an immediate signal to me that you are thinking about moving house, changing careers or moving jobs, or making a change in your relationships. And that could be, Aileen, I will come to the ears in a moment, and that could be entering into a new relationship or ending an existing relationship. If it's at the hip stage, then you're thinking about it. It's still quite new. If you get down and you're having knee problems, then you're on that journey of making those changes. Some people make changes in all three at the same time. And when that happens, there is a higher chance of having a hip, knee, ankle, feet problem. So the ankles, that is more about when you're signing an agreement or you're entering into an agreement. That's a signal to you. Make sure you read the contract, dot all your I's, cross all your T's. Make sure that there's no charge around that movement of taking that last step, because you might have a little niggly intuition. This is, if something happens with your ankle, you must follow that intuition, because there's an extra piece. And sometimes with the ankles, you may have a sore neck as well. See how we can link the different parts of the body when you know what the metaphysical body language is. And I'll just finish with the feet, with the toes. If you kick your toe, broke your toe, cut your toe, the toes tell me, I celebrate anything that happens with my toes, because I know I'm on the cliff edge and I'm about to fly. So as painful as toes can be, they're a really awesome sign that you are almost through the journey of change that was initiated if you got some problems with your hips. So Aileen has said, my husband's both ears feel swollen and he hears a ticking sound that is bringing discomfort. So the ears obviously are around hearing. So we're listening, but we also need to listen with our inner ears. So for your husband, Aileen, there'll be something that is not hearing that is important for him. That's what's underneath. Yes, he has swollen ears and he can hear a ticking. Now that ticking could be his heartbeat. So it would be really interesting to see what the rhythm of the ticking is, because ticking to me sounds different to tinnitus, which is sometimes like a white noise or just noise. So with that, if your husband hasn't been to the doctor, I would actually get him to go to the doctor and have his blood pressure checked. That's what I'm feeling from your question there. Now, there is another area of the body that I like to share with, and that's the left side of the body is what I call the past. So that's from 2 years back. You're welcome. and the right side of the body is the present, which is today back 2 years. So there's some thought or decision that you have made that is impacting on your body, and it's still impacting. If it's from on the left side, it could be all the way back to birth, anywhere in that time. And sometimes I've found that it's even a frequency that has come through, if you believe in past lives, and I do, that has come through at a soul level. And so I feel that our body is always communicating with us, and it's based on what is going on in our unconscious, what is going on in our consciousness, and what is going on in our external environment that we're responding to. Hi, Carla. Welcome. So has anyone got any other body parts that you want me to give my metaphysical body language on? That would be really helpful to make this a great experience for you. So how do you listen to that inner voice? That takes practice, and it also takes, I would journal what your inner voice is saying about the different things. The right side of the body is the present. It's from today back 2 years. So you've made a decision, or you have an energy block that has come about in the last 2 years. And I'll tell you why I've come to that 2-year decision. And it's based on working with people who came to me with cancer. And I would say to them intuitively, so what happened 2 years ago? 2 years before your decision, diagnosis. And they'd say, oh, this XYZ very stressful event occurred 2 years before. And so when I started hearing this coming time and time and time again, that a stressful event had triggered the cancer from 2 years ago, I knew that anything that happened in the last 2 years to the body, on the right side particularly, was triggered in the last 2 years. If something happens, say for example, somebody gets breast cancer on the left side of their body, that not only was a stressful situation that was triggered up to 2 years ago, but generally it's around 2 years, but there was already layers there, layers of stress that was just sitting in the body. And for breast cancer, I was going to bring this up before. Breast cancer is, the breasts are about nurturing. Women nurture babies when they're born, generally. And so when women are diagnosed with breast cancer, I think, okay, your nurturing is all going out, but where's the self-nurturing? Where's that time for you? And when I ask women who've been diagnosed with breast cancer, they just say there's none. There's no nurturing. So one of the things that you can do is do self-care, do self-nurturing as a matter of practice. And that's going to help with that part of your body. And did I answer that correctly for you, Christy, about the right side of the body? So what if something keeps being painful or occurring on the right side of the body? I would be doing inspecting what next layer have I added in that's compounding that. And I would look at that. And so what we're trying to do with your metaphysical body language is listen to the subtle signs, listen to the signals that are coming. And, oh, so you left corporate 2 years ago to start your business. That's really interesting. Severe migraine. Hi, Beatrice. So severe migraine Carla, this is something that I suffer from as well. And there are severe migraine. It's something that you have or don't have. And what I notice is that it's a trigger. There's triggers for me. I don't know about for you. So I have migraine triggers, and I'm a classic migraine: oranges, chocolate, peanuts, red wine, licorice, and there's others, but they're probably the main ones that will trigger the migraine. And there's soft lollies like jubes or jellies or things like that. There must be something in there that gets put in there. But here's the thing that I've noticed about migraine is that if I don't get enough sleep, has an impact. So sleep is very important as well. And the other thing that is really important is that stress actually comes before the migraine. So managing stress, and you're absolutely right, severe stress, managing stress is probably the key. The World Health Organization has said that 70% of chronic illness, the trigger for that or the cause of that is stress. So that leads me to another little template that I have that is amazing for stress. So just give me the thumbs up or a heart if you would like to learn my stress release template. And I know there's a little bit of a delay. The problems on the left side. Beatrice, I spoke about the problems on the left side. They're from decisions or things that have happened prior to 2 years, prior to the last 2 years. So they could be in this lifetime or past lifetimes. Your soul may sometimes bring those through. Sometimes I do need to do clearings in that space. So this is a really beautiful template that I've been teaching for over 10 years, and this is one that I would recommend that you take a note of, come back and watch the video again, because people have been messaging me saying, I'm still using that 10 years on, and I use it daily. So it's one of those things that's going to help bring your stress down. So the first thing that you would do, I feel like I've had 3 lifetimes. I totally relate to that, Carla, and I feel like I have as well. So I'm happy to have a chat about that with you. So you're welcome to connect with me. So let's do this template. So first of all, in your mind, get a number out of 10 or of where you feel your stress levels are right now. And that could be 5 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10. If there's something particular that raises your stress level, then think about that. What number out of 10 does it give you for stress? Or anxiety. This is really good for anxiety as well. So I'll get you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in and gently relax. Gently release all the way out, out, out. Take another deep breath in and gently release all the way out, out, out. One more time. Take a deep breath in and gently release all the way out, out, out. Breathing normally now. I want you to imagine or feel or hear, sense that you're a seagull out over the ocean. You're flying up high, you're looking down and you can see the water. Just observe your water. What does it look like? Are there white caps? Are there waves? Is there a big swell? Or is it calm? Is it smooth? Whatever your water looks like, there's no right or wrong. And now what I would like you to do with your mind, however you would do this with whatever clay you have, make your water smooth as a lagoon, not even a ripple. It is still. And I'll give you a moment to do that. Excellent. Now what I would like you to do, I would like that seagull to fly over land. And over land, as the seagull looks down, there is a garden bed of gerbras. And these are flowers with long, thin stems, a bit like a daisy or a sunflower, but they're on long, thin stems. Beautiful flower colours, all colours, reds, yellows, pinks, oranges, whites. Observe that garden bed of flowers. What do they look like? Are they all leaning over? Are they all standing up straight? Are there any broken ones? Are there any bent ones? I'll give you a moment to observe that. And now, if they're not all up straight, I want you to imagine that the sun, the midday sun, is like an enormous magnet, and it's drawing all of those flowers up to face the midday sun, and the stems are up straight. Excellent. Well done. If you need to stake some, tie them up, do that. But they're all coming up straight and tall, facing the midday sun. Now what I want you to do is leave that and imagine that you're flying all the way back out to the ocean and using whatever sense is right for you. I want you to see what your water looks like, or hear or feel or know what your water looks like. Is it still smooth? If it's not still smooth, make it smooth again. And then I want you to take a deep breath in, and I want you to come all the way back into the room and into your body and open your eyes when you are ready. And then I want you to take a note of where out of 10 is your stress or anxiety. Is it different to how it was when we began 3 minutes ago? And just write in the comments if you feel like your stress levels have come down. And this is a really good one that you can do at any time. And if you are in a work environment and you get stressed, or you're in an environment in your home or another outdoors somewhere, you can actually go and take a few minutes and go into the bathroom. Everyone is allowed to go to the bathroom. And so what I would recommend is that you go to the bathroom, and here's the magic about sitting on the toilet, and as soon as you sit down, you go into your alpha levels. So you go into this different brain frequency. And it's really another place that this happens is in the shower. That's why you get ideas dropping in. So this is a good place to go and do this process, because you will walk in stressed or anxious, and you will walk out feeling calm and more balanced. So yeah, Beatrice used to do that when she worked for an employer. So remember this process. It's very gentle. My daughter, who didn't learn to drive a car until she was in her 30s, she says when she's driving, she actually does this with her eyes open. If she can feel her anxiety coming, she will just quickly check her water, check her flowers. So I will answer that in a moment, Beatrice. So what's happening is you're balancing your vertical energy and you're balancing your horizontal energy. The vertical energy is your flowers, and your horizontal energy is the water. And scientists have done research, and they've said we have vertical and horizontal energy. So I always love to hear that there's science that validates some of these processes that I've intuited through. I am a visual person, so I see the vision. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you, Beatrice. Would do some short yoga. So you would do some yoga to help recalibrate the stress and anxiety. That's beautiful as well, because yoga moves energy. So my work is more in the energy area rather than the physical, tangible area. But it's really good to combine both. So you could be doing yoga and doing the vision. I've found that when you do more than one sense, as in touch, smell, taste, etc., that you have an even more heightened experience. So I hope that this has been really helpful for you. Has anyone got any more questions? So okay, so what else can I share with you? I have been doing this work for 37 years. I have actually written a book called The Art of Self-Healing. It's a beautiful book that has in the back, it has a list and the page number of all the templates and exercises. There's a whole chapter on your metaphysical body language, and every part of the body that I've written about in there, there's an exercise, and I've shared some of those exercises with you. Thank you, Hayley. Lower back. I will come back to that in 1 second, Christy. So this is a great book, and I'll share with you before I finish off where you can buy that. The lower back says to me that there's worry around finances, and it's the sacrum area, the L4, L5 sacrum area. That just there is worry around finances, and the tension that comes with that can actually impinge on the sciatic nerve as well. So if you have lower back, would you like me to I'm just going to share with you. So here's what I do. So lower back, I place the hands on the lower back like that. And then here's the thing that I've learned over the years. It's worry and concern that we add to the mix. That's the thing that creates the tension in our body. And when our body is filled with tension, then it's not working at its optimal level. So I invite my clients to place their hands on their lower back, and it's the worry and concern that we're saying, I don't have to do that anymore. So if you have lower back issues, place your hands on there and say, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to do that anymore. And really drop in and say, I don't have to do that anymore. And you say it until you feel that resonance through your body. If you're just roting it because there's a resistance in there, then what you do is you just drop into this safe place in your body. Now, I'm not going to tell you where your safe place is, because it could be anywhere. One of my clients said, it's on the soles of my feet. So that's where we went. But when you're in that safe place and you take a deep breath in and you say, I don't have to do that anymore on the out breath, that's when your body believes you. So what you're learning is the art of communicating with your blueprint or your holographic body, and then that connects in with your physical body, and then the tension releases. It's like you're doing a miracle on your body, and you have to get you must believe what you're saying. You can't just rote it, and that's the difference. And when you add that emotion and belief, your body believes you and it transforms. It's quite simple. So I hope that has been helpful. So indigestion, Beatrice, that's a really good question. So indigestion is like you're in turmoil. You're in turmoil and nothing seems to be coming together. So what I do is put my hand on there and I actually instruct my body. I'm teaching you my templates here. And this came about because somebody said to me, how do I fix that thing that I just ate that I know my body doesn't respond well to? I said, I don't know. You tell me. What are you going to do? She said, I'm going to ask the contents of my stomach to be the pH of alkalized water, which I think is about 7.5, but I don't say the number. So I hold my hand on my stomach and I drop in. So there's this feeling of dropping in. Be really present. So you're getting out of your head into your body. And then I just say, please make the contents of my stomach the pH of alkalized water. And within a minute or two, the indigestion or the reflux or whatever it is actually dissipates. Every now and then, Beatrice, I get nothing will shift it. And so then I will have a quarter of a teaspoon of bicarb of soda in water, and then it immediately goes. So when you have that upset stomach, there's something that you're in conflict about. So you do the inner work. You drill in, what am I in conflict about? And then you take action. You neutralize that. I hope that is helpful. So we are 3 minutes from the end of our time. Thank you so much for joining me. I have so many templates, like I've designed between 50 and 60 templates. I've recorded them all. They're in our web app. And if you go to lightcodelab.com/Phoenix, we have a gift there for you of a discount, and you can go, and we've got 14 days free. Go and check it out. I think that you will really enjoy getting to know your body, getting to know what your metaphysical body language is, getting to feel empowered about your health. Thank you. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, Christy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. There's so much more. I could talk all day, and I do talk all day sometimes about this. So I'm really grateful for you attending. If you want the book, go to julielewin.com and it's in my shop. And if you want to learn more about developing your intuition, we have an intuition builder book, and that's on the lightcodelab.com website. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you, everyone. I am a real stickler for time, and our time is up. So thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the group. Bye.